What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got both of my co-hosts on the line with me tonight. I got my man, Jay Baba. What's going on with you, bro?
Not much. What's going on tonight, fellas? Definitely look forward to this episode. From the trending topics on to the topic tonight, I think they're going to be lit. Hope all the followers here enjoy their Father's Day weekend. Happy Juneteenth and everything. But want to remind you, you can catch us on Grind City TV. That's Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can download it on your Roku TV, also your Google Play app. Also follow us on TikTok at hoetohusbandpodcast, as well as give us a like on Facebook. All right, T.
I also want to introduce my other co-host. I got my man SD. What's going on, bro?
Man, you know, the same old, man. Just glad to be off work early. That's what I'm glad for today. But I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for keeping the background music fresh all the time. And I want to remind everybody to donate to the Cash App, the Host the Husband Cash App, and on PayPal also.
I want to remind everybody, y'all can catch the audio playback of the podcast every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. We got a real interesting topic tonight. Tonight we're talking about Black love and the obstacles to attracting and maintaining it. But before we get into our trending topic, y'all know how we do around here on the Hold a Husband Podcast. We like to discuss things that we've seen on our timeline or things that have been trending on social media. So we got two interesting topics. This first video is a video of a man talking about men feeling appreciated. Let's see what he has to say.
A man does not feel appreciated in the area of his presence. He becomes a version of a man that he can give you and still survive. And I promise you, you will not like that version. That version of him is silent, frustrated, sharp with his words, short-tempered. How many of y'all been getting that lately? Non-communicative. Because he has to become something that he can survive in.
All right, now I had a couple of people send me this video or ask my opinion about it. And y'all know I'm not a real big fan of preachers giving relationship advice. To me, it kind of mixes the message, right. And it is usually told in vague terms that the person has to interpret. So that would be my only pushback on the message. I kind of get what he's saying. A guy that doesn't feel appreciated is going to respond in a negative way. But it's so vague and there's no real details that to me this is kind of borderline pandering. Even though I didn't hear anything that I felt was like outrageous or blatant lie. What'd you think?
I think that he's right for most men, because I'm like that. Like, if I don't feel like you appreciate what I'm doing as a man in a relationship, right? Whether I'm providing for the household, whether I'm protecting whatever, leading the household properly like I'm supposed to be doing, most men don't need a whole lot of pat on the back. Like Father's Day just passed, and most men don't really trip about Father's Day like that. You know what I'm saying? We'll be like, oh man, we need this and that, because it's what we do as men. It's what we're expected.
Like pride in it.
That's what we take pride in. But we want to know that we are appreciated for it. And it don't necessarily have to be gifts. For me, my love language, the top one is words of affirmation for me. I took the survey, so I'm just saying. But so for me, that's all I need is your appreciation for what I'm doing. It could be words. It could be if I'm taking you out on a date and you just say, hey, do you want me to leave a tip? Just to ask. Just to let me know you appreciate what I'm doing makes me, and a lot of men want to do so much more for the woman that appreciates us. And when we don't get that, we feel slighted, less than, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not appreciated, and nobody wants to feel like that. I don't care who it is, but for men, it's one of those things that we really look for, kind of like respect in a relationship. So,
right. I'm gonna let you go, Jay, and then I'll piggyback on what SD had to say. Go ahead.
Okay. No, definitely. I think he had some valid points. I think he's right because every man wants to feel appreciated in a relationship or wants to feel wanted. So what he's explaining here, what I think is when a man mentally checks out, when he's not getting those things, when a woman's not appreciated, when he's not coming home to a peaceful, and a multitude of other reasons. But I digress here. I'll turn it over to y'all.
Yeah, well, I do agree. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with part of where he was coming. That if you feel like you're unappreciated or your needs are not being met, it will alter your behavior and cause you to make some decisions that are not necessarily good for the relationship. Mm-hmm. But what I don't like is it wasn't specific. Like, I hate when men give vague situations like or confusing terms like a man will become a version of himself that he doesn't like. Man, stop it. Just say something. Just talk in simple terms. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's one of the things that I've always tried to do. Like, I try to speak very direct. A man that doesn't feel appreciated is less likely to want to continue giving his resources to you. He's less likely to continue choosing to be faithful, etc. Like, talk about it in terms that are specific and direct. So that's the only part of it. Like,
I got
the preacher giving the vague, fluffy, like kind of just talking in cliches. Even when there's truth behind it, it doesn't really hit because it's just kind of more of a it's a sound bite more than a meaningful drop of wisdom or insight. But I don't want to seem like I'm discrediting because, you know what I'm saying, because I get it, but
right. I think we all agree with the premise of what he's saying, but, you know, I think we could have went without some of the vague generalities that he was putting out there.
Yeah, I didn't pay him no attention like that part of it until you said it. I'm like, well, I get it. But you know, like if when I don't feel appreciated, because that's how I felt what he was saying. It's like a version of yourself, right? Like, normally, you know what I'm saying, I talk to a woman, I give that woman, you know what I'm saying, what I got. I am how I am. I treat her a certain way. She ain't got to worry about nothing. She's going to be good with me. You ain't got to worry about date money. I ain't worried about no stuff like that. But if I feel like you don't appreciate what I am doing, now I don't really want to bother with you like that. Yeah, I'm going to leave you alone. But some dudes will be like, hey, where your half at? Some guys will be like that, like, where your half of this date? Because you don't appreciate what I'm doing anyway. So
okay. Well, I mean, if you do that, be based. To me, if you go on a date and then based off what's happening, you say, "Oh, well, I'm only paying half." Yeah. To me, that's a shiesty way of going about it. Like, I would never. To me, that's you're trying to put pressure and ultimatums to get pussy. And that's always a bad move. That's a bad strategy to me. I would much rather have it cool vibes and trust my own judgment on whether a woman likes me for me or not. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think I've ever really been finessed out of just free food and free drink. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen other dudes do. But I think that was just because all the experience and the phone conversations, all the stuff we talk about on other episodes, but we done spoke on the phone for hours, so I know you like talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the laughter and our inside jokes is real. So to me, I think guys can eliminate that by being more efficient.
Yeah, and I think that's anybody. I think that's what women too. Don't appreciate a woman and what she's doing, her cooking or cleaning up around the house, and you behave a certain way like you don't appreciate it. A lot of women will say, well, cook for yourself then.
Yeah.
Clean up your own stuff, because everybody wants to feel appreciated, not just men. And when we don't feel appreciated, a lot of us will give a different version of ourselves to somebody because they don't appreciate what we're doing. So why keep doing it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And other things are in place where people just don't walk away. Like we say, hey, why don't you just walk away? It don't happen like that all the time.
Yeah. Right. At the end of the day, it just has to be a healthy balance in a relationship. You know, you do for each other and appreciate each other at the same time here.
Hey, have y'all ever heard this though? You ever heard women not wanting to give a guy anything or any kudos for being faithful? They don't want to give any kudos for being faithful. Like
that's what you're supposed to do. That's
exactly.
Because for a woman gets rewarded for her loyalty, staying down with that man, all of these things. She gets rewarded with a ring. That's what she's doing it for. She ain't doing it just to do it. She gets rewarded, right?
Exactly.
So to me, anyway. And so for a man coming out of being a man and being, dealing with multiple women and then staying faithful to his lady, that man should be appreciated for that, man. And the woman should be too. Like, I don't know why women have such an issue with that.
No question about it.
That kind of goes into our next topic. Our next video is a woman giving her thoughts on the modern woman and the things that they're not willing to do to have dating success. Let's take a listen.
You can't even get women nowadays to bring their man a plate, rub his feet, just basic things. The attitude of so many women that I see now is they don't want to cater to a man in it's almost like it's a dirty word. They don't want to compete for a man. They want him to just pick her because she's so special. But it's too much competition. There's too much out here. What are you doing to outbeat the competition? What are you doing to win over a man? And a lot of women, they don't want to do it. They want to have attitudes, not be in, work on themselves in any kind of way, physically, mentally, spiritually. Just think they just show up. Me being alive, being a woman with a vagina is enough for a man to choose me. Accept me as I am. All the men need to change. All the men need to stop being this way. But us women, we're perfect out the womb. We're perfect. Just because we're born, we're perfect beings. And it's all these men. But But that's good news for me because I'm going to compete. And I'm glad that they've taken themselves out the competition. That's less work for me.
Man, she chose violence in all caps, bro. She went in. She pointed out a lot of examples of different things that people complain about. But it's true, the attitude that a lot of women have towards men, it's undertoned with bitterness. There's hatred there. There isn't a genuine desire to have a healthy relationship where both people are happy and prosperous. And a lot of women are just dating and having sex to try to leverage and get what they can out of men. And it's an unfortunate aspect, but I've got to think that that's a large result of the media, right? Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
man. No question.
The attitude is such a big thing for me while I'm out here trying to, date or whatever the case. Like, it's such a huge thing for me. And for a lot of modern women, like she said, they just don't want to do a lot of stuff for a man. But on the flip side, they want that man to do everything.
Everything. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I was earlier today, I had a discussion under a post where they were talking about this high earning man, ladies, y'all, And I said, hey, that's fine and dandy. But, high earning men like their women to be physically fit. You all want a guy that's financially not lazy. And those types of men want a woman that's physically not lazy.
Not lazy.
Man, you know how many names I got called just for saying that? Yeah. Like, whatever we want, it's a problem with it. Giving it to us. Whereas men, smart men try to do what women want in order to get women. That's how you have success.
Yeah. That's how you get success, right? Right. Like, but men are forced to do that. That's the difference. Like, we're forced to change our behavior. If you're doing something that's getting every chick is curving you or no longer taking your calls, you got to figure out you got to troubleshoot the problem on your own. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to come fix it for you. Nobody's going to come solve it for you. So women don't. A woman's going to always be able to get dick and attention. And so a lot of women mistake that for guys that actually want to be with them. Yeah, we talk about it all the time, right, Jay?
Exactly. You know what? I posted this on the Hold Husband podcast, and I had women saying, well, I'm not competing for anybody. Well, then how do you expect to get a man if you're not going to compete for anybody, right? Because as a woman, you got to bring some kind of value to a man's life other than just your vagina. right? So
it's a good start.
It is. I would say, listen, because I would say, listen, you're either bringing value to a man's life or you're not. It's one or the other, right? You're two things in life, right? You're either a lubricator or an agitator. So don't be an agitator. So I just want to ask this, right? Why do you think so many of these women have adopted this feminist mindset?
Man,
well, there are a lot of reasons why. Go ahead.
Yeah. One of the main reasons why is because society is telling them they don't need a man, and then two, they're making more money than they ever were in the past. So now that providing aspect of it, women feel like they don't need a man. So because they feel like, so many of them feel like they don't need a man, and if they feel like they don't need something, it won't be of value to them. When you feel like you need something, it's a value to you, and you place importance on that, right? And you do what you got to do to fulfill that need. When you don't see that, it's just a want at that point. And when we don't want something anymore, we just discard it and get something else. And that's what we see in the relationship world, where so many women file for divorce. And we talking 80%. That's a huge number, right? And especially if you look at the studies and all that, it's a lot of the educated career women with money that's doing a lot of it, that have the highest rate. So it's because that need for a man is not there. Well,
also you have to keep in mind, historically, the patriarch society put women in a space where they had to be married to have certain rights. They had to deal with a man or stay with a man in order to own a home or etc. Whatever, just to survive, because they couldn't make money, etc. So a lot of unfairness was placed on women that forced them to have to get outside of their natural role. But with the women that have that modern women attitude where they don't want to compete, that isn't realistic, because they only want the men that attract other women. So if you're dealing with a man that make the money, that drive the car, they got the swag, they got the charisma, etc., got the big dick, all the stuff that you want, well, other women want that too. And so from a male perspective, choosing between multiple women, you start having to nitpick. It becomes something small. Well, she swallows, she don't. She got a big booty, she don't. Like it becomes something where if you just look at that one thing, you'll be like, man, you being petty. But you're like, well, shit, all of them got good jobs. All of them are good women. All of them are attractive. So it's usually something small that's the difference maker.
Yeah, man. The problem with that is that they're competing whether they know it or not. They ain't going to get $400-$500 wigs and $300 makeup and little shirts with the titties out. They just competing in a different way. See,
exactly.
A lot of them don't want to compete in a pleasant, desirable way, according to the men, as far as relationship and marriage wise, because you really don't have to compete to get sex from a dude. We'll get that to you. Most of these men out here give it to you. You ain't got to have your hair done for you to give me sloppy top. You ain't got to have none of that stuff done. But in order to get a husband, in order to get a ring, you have to be different than what the rest of these women are and have the things that these other women don't. You got to get in the game, because if you don't get in the game, you ain't gonna get the men that you want. You just not.
Right. Actually, you do this all the time. I know when you go live with these women, right? You ask them a question when they're competing, right? You ask them, what would you rather have, the plumber or say the guy that works the drive-thru at Wendy's? And the majority of them say the plumber. Right? So aren't you competing for that?
Yeah, you gonna have to.
They don't view it like that though, but because women historically, all they have to do is wait for guys to approach them. And most guys are going to do that if they find you sexually attractive. And so, like you said, they have a problem with identifying what men are husband material. They judge men off the stupidest stuff, things that are irrelevant, things that don't have anything to do with whether or not he can lead a household and raise a family. And so not only their approach to dating is in a way that kind of conflicts with most of the men that they want, The guy that got his shit together, that got the nice house and everything, that doesn't need you, is not going to put up with a whole bunch of baggage and attitude. Why? Because he has other options that are more pleasurable than that. So they just do a lot of things that cause them to end up on the outside of the fence when it comes to reaching their relationship goals.
Yeah, man, I've been cut off for my birthday. I've been cut off for being light skinned. I've been cut off with my beard don't connect. I've been cut off for all types of stuff. And I'm like, man, what's up? Like, but you know, they just don't understand. Like the guys that you want out here, you have to have what they want also. It's just not about y'all.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Women don't have the same luxury to be as picky as men. And
they don't want to hear that
for superficial reasons.
They don't want to hear that though.
You know, they always ask, and I'm sure you get this question too. They say, where do all of these good quality men hang out at? And I always tell them, if it was a particular spot, a specific spot where good quality men hung out at, you'd have to go to Ticketmaster to get in. Because it would be a line 18 miles long full of women trying to get to those 10 guys or 20 guys, whatever the case, because the competition is fierce out here. So that's why as a woman, you have to have what the men want. You should be in the best shape that you can be in. You should be as pleasant and feminine and submissive as you can be within reason as far as submission goes with a man. Right? Because those are the things that men look for, along with being accountable and understanding, right? Just like a man has to have his financials in order. He has to be a decent, a good leader and handle his business and take care of his priorities in order to attract the type of women that he wants, because he knows that it's other men out here that's sexier than he is, that got more money than he got.
More money.
That's the, you know what I'm saying, that he is in competition with, because we have been doing this our whole lives, knowing that we got to get one up some type of way in order to compete with these here men. Yeah. So they at a disadvantage when it comes to that.
You know what, Esty? Those are great and valid points, but I think women give a lot of pushback to a lot of things you just said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why that woman was talking about not wanting to bring him a plate or not rubbing his feet. Like, I get maybe the feet thing, I get it, but a lot of women nowadays, they don't even want to. They say, you got two hands, buddy. You can fix your own plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it gets talked about a lot, but a guy has to be willing to do as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just depends on what's going on. If your girl's sitting down on her laptop, you can fix the plate. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the society where a woman just has to be in the kitchen and only doing those things. Like, those should be shared responsibilities in a household in 2022.
Right. But it starts with the attitude, though, T. It starts with the attitude. If your attitude ain't in line with that, I don't want to be bothered with you, because you're going to cause me headaches having the attitude that's toxic and unhealthy for a long-lasting relationship.
Exactly. You know what it is? A lot of women think there's nothing wrong with the way they are, especially if they're, let's just say, the 8, 9s, and 10s and have that kind of disposition.
But see, that don't make sense though, because any woman can transform into an 8, 9, or 10 by going to get a BBL and a makeup artist. Like, so women that feel like, oh, I'm super fine. Well, you go to any major city and go out at night, you're gonna find multiple women that look just as fine as you do. So that's not giving you the advantage, and that's not what smart men are using to make the decision to marry a woman.
No.
Big facts.
Man, we're gonna have to do a whole subject on this, man.
Real talk.
Like that last topic we can chop it up for. Look like I think we got time to get to one of our questions in the DMs. If you are interested in having your DM question answered by us on the podcast, make sure you hit us up at our Hold a Husband Podcast Instagram page. What we got in the inbox, fellas?
All right, I got Chaz from Las Vegas. She says, should I continue to hang around a quality man who's going through his whole phase? He said he wanted to marry me at first, but that was a month ago. He's still saying it, but he also stated that he's wary of marriage. I know he deals with other women, but should I keep dealing with him because he's a good provider?
All right. To me, that translates to he makes a decent amount of money. I just by the description that she gave, I get fuckboy vibes. Because a man that's telling a woman I want to marry you, I want to be with you forever. Yeah, that's a red flag right there. Because that's not how smart men make that decision. Exactly. And guys that have had experience with women, they are even more cautious with giving women disclaimers and warnings so that they can help them manage their expectations. So a dude that's hitting you with, I want to marry you up front, he's gassing you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though he might be able to provide, he might be wearing designer shit, he don't sound like the type of guy that you should be looking for long term, based off what I heard. What about you?
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like homeboy is selling her a dream, talking about, I can see us getting mad within a month. Come on. At your own admission, you said, he messes with other women and stuff, but, he makes good money. I think she's sticking around hoping that he'll actually stop messing with those other women and, just deal with her and end up marrying her. And I honestly don't see that happening. What about you, SD?
Man, listen, this is what happened. Let me tell y'all what happened. This is classic. That's how we know this. This is classic. Men know that women want relationships and marriage, right?
Right.
Men know it, and we can sense, especially when you a hoe, you still in your hoe phase, you deal with so many women, you can sense when a woman is desperate for a relationship.
Yeah.
And so they come out with things like this early on, within a month, that he wants to marry you. And then now he's saying he's weary. You want to know why he's weary? Because he smashed you already. So now that whole marriage thing, well, now I'm
off
a little
the table.
worried about it now,
Exactly.
because he done hit right now. So y'all gotta understand, y'all gotta see through these games, because like Terry said, quality husband material men don't date like that. They don't I'm not going to tell you that I can see myself marrying you and I don't know that much about you in a month. There's no way I can figure that out. Y'all got to know this.
Hell no.
Y'all got to know this game.
Because doing that backfires. Guys that do that, they know this is going to be a short-term thing. Couple months tops. So what difference do it make? You're the one that's going to be on the emotional roller coaster, not him. So guys that gas women up, dudes that talk shit about other guys, why you with him? He a lame. I heard he slept with such and such. Like guys that do stuff like that, they're showing you that they don't have character. They're showing you that they're not solid dudes, because that's not how quality men approach it. Like a guy that's really got something going on, he ain't gonna come to you talking about no other dudes. He ain't gotta come to you making all kind of promises, because you'll be able to see what he actually got going on, and it's attractive enough for you and lots of other women like you to want to fuck with him. True. Like, so I guess that's the difference. Like you said, the guys that are successful women already.
But you know what? It seems like she knows what it is right here. So do y'all think she's just being willfully ignorant in this situation?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. It just sounds like he don't sound as solid or as a quality of a dude as she seems to think he is, to me.
Gotcha.
Man, you know what? I think it's, I just don't like when women reach a certain age, like if you're over 30, you've been dating since you was 18, that's 12 years in the game, right? To 30. You should know by now that how men move out here and know good and well that this man cannot be serious about you. But this is what happens when women get so much into their feelings and want to feel that clock and they want to get married and want to have kids. They tend to overlook and blind themselves to the different things that the men show you, because a dude like that, that's a whole like that, a whole phase man, he can't hide that. This is the sign right here when a guy's gassing you and telling you things that he couldn't possibly know that fast. That's a red flag for you to walk away from a dude like that, because he's not genuine. True. And as a 30-plus-year-old woman, there's no way you should still be getting got like that out here in the dating world.
Exactly. Definitely agree.
I think we've I think we've all like that's something I would have done. Let's just say in my younger to mid 20s, I would have done stuff like that. You know, 12 years of the game. Let's just say you're a professional athlete in basketball, baseball, football, right? You're considered a vet when you're 12 years in the game. So, like you said, she should know better. 12 years in the game.
That's right.
Already, man. All right, man. Look like we went a little long on our trending topics today, man. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about tonight's topic, Black love, and the obstacles that are making it difficult. Y'all are tuned in to the Hold a Husband podcast, and we'll be back momentarily.
Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read, or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Hold a Husband podcast. Tonight we are talking about Black love and some of the obstacles that make attracting Black love or maintaining it difficult for those of us in America. I think that especially for African Americans, you cannot overemphasize the impact that slavery and white supremacy has had on Black marriage, Black families, and Black relationships as a whole. And so I don't want to go too deep into it, but I will say that the fundamental thing that has shifted in the Black community is how Black women perceive Black men. And I think that the root of that is something that is called buck breaking that took place in slavery, where the slave owners would take the biggest, strongest Black men, the most masculine, and they would completely emasculate him by beating him, by raping him in front of everybody. And in a lot of cases, they would kill him. And so this shifted the way that Black women perceive men, because they were removed from their natural role of being able to protect and provide for their own families. And so I think if you go through the history and how everything has played out since then, I think you see where we're at today as far as Black relationships in America. What about you, man?
I think that the buck breaking that happened back in the slavery times happened a lot after, you know what I'm saying, the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It just happened a different way. So during that time, they used government assistance to get rid of the Black men out the house purposely. Gave them housing, gave them food, only if they didn't have a Black man in the house. And on top of that, they hit them with the war on drugs that was really targeted in the hood to the Black men, to get the Black men out of the house so they couldn't provide and couldn't do these things. And so now what happened from that, and also the old slavery days back in the day, is now that you have that different way of buck breaking, you have a lot more women, because it's single parent households in the Black community, like 70-some%, treating their boys more femininely and raising them softer so that they aren't posed as a threat out here in society, whether it's to other people in the hood or whether it's to the police. And on the flip side, they're raising the girls to be more stronger and to be independent and not depend on nobody. You know, we see that all the time with these hip boys be 25, 30 years old, still living at home.
Yeah, still living with mom.
On the couch. Yeah, being baby, where the girls is out, man, on college campuses, got their own place and doing all these different things. It's just a different form of butt breaking that the government used to destroy the Black family, because we know how the government feels about Black people. You know what I'm saying? It's highly documented. So that's
no doubt. Speaking of document, I don't know if either one of you saw the documentary Buck Breaking by Tariq Nasheed. I think he put it out right around last summer, but definitely a good documentary. If y'all haven't, I would suggest you go get it. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
you know what?
So
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So in America, you have to look at how much media has played a role in how men and women date. Because all the things that impacted that we got from slavery, like women's bodies being over sexualized, all those things, men being extremely macho and hyper, you know what I'm saying? This tough masculine energy, what they call it, toxic masculinity nowadays. All these things were kind of portrayed in the media to make us look some type of way. And since we've already had, it's so stressful and it's so difficult already. Once you are in a relationship and you have to take on the responsibility of having a woman and a family, that's a lot, especially if you're a Black man that is not in a financial position that other men of other races are. And so when you look at the systematic way that Black men have been put at the bottom of the economic pool, that matters when it comes to dating, because finances is something that women of all races consider.
Yeah, you're right about the media, man, because we've seen it, man, from the earlier days when when rap actually became how it is now. All the rappers was telling you, hey, man, I got hoes.
In different area codes.
Yeah, like that was the thing coming up in the 90s and all of that. You know, it changed from Cool G Rap and Ron DMC and all them. It changed to where they got hoes, and now the women are being more pushed out there towards the women. Hey, we don't need no man. I don't cook. I don't clean. Let me tell you how I got this ring. Right. But the problem is that they all still need it and desire it. But the media and social media also is playing such a key role in us not valuing relationships now. And I see it a lot with the women, because I don't really see men walk around saying they don't need a woman. I don't really see men doing that. I see women doing that, and especially Black women. I've never really seen another race of women do it. That's just me personally. But it's just something within our community where our women feel like they don't need us. And so they behave like they don't need us. And the men behave like hoes. I mean, that's what hoes.
Exactly. You know what? That's a great point you hit on, SD. What they did was they weaponized the music against, because they saw the power in the music, right? Think about when rap was at its peak. Now these two groups were polar opposite each other. You have Public Enemy, NWA, two songs, right? Fight the power and fuck the police. Yeah, that's where they saw the power in that. So they weaponized. Now you hear songs like for example, Destiny's Child, Independent Woman. You know, all my independent women, throw your hands up. That, you remember that song, right? That came back in 2000.
But that's the problem. That's the wrong messaging. You know what I mean? Because a family unit is interdependent. You have to depend on, everybody needs to fill their role in order for the household to function. Now, technically speaking, men or women don't necessarily need each other except to have kids. Like a man could have his own house and live a single lifestyle. He can cook, clean, do everything that needs to be done. But to have a family dynamic and have a healthy, loving relationship with a woman, there are just certain things that you're going to have to do and have to deal with. And in the Black community, it's like I said, it's already stressful enough, especially if you're struggling financially. We know how much finances impact a relationship, and so that if you're dealing with a woman, like as D said, they got a degree or got her own businesses, making a large amount of money, they feel like that makes them more desirable to men. But what that ultimately does is it makes her more argumentative and less pleasant to date from a male perspective. And so it has this inverse effect on their success rate.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, not all of them, but in a lot of cases, if you talk to the men, that's what the men say. And I've dealt with these here women, and most of them have been combative and just unpleasant to deal with, because they have the attitude like, I don't need you. So it's not really a pleasant time to really deal with them. So, but you know, it's especially the wrong message from these here entertainers saying, "Hey, all my independent ladies," or "I don't cook and I don't clean," or "I got hoes on different area codes." Right? It's especially the wrong message when you're going home to a wife or a husband. That's when it's
I always laughed at that.
Yeah, you're not practicing what you preaching to all these other people out here.
Right. Beyonce is married. But here's the thing with the music, right? It's been scientifically proven if you listen to something, hundreds of times, thousands of times, it's subconsciously programmed in your mind. That can be proven.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I talk to women about the word choices that they use, because words have power. Because if you go around saying you don't need a man, I don't need this man, I don't need that, it's going to stick in your mind and you are going to subconsciously stop valuing what it is that you say you don't need.
Right.
It's going to happen. That's
or
they
view it transactional. Like they don't view it like something, like you said, that has sentimental value or something that you just care about or you're just working to nurture. A lot of women view their interactions with men from a transaction standpoint. That's why they try to leverage sex into whatever they want from a man. And that's not how a healthy relationship works.
Fellas, quick question here, right? A lot of these women that are, that call themselves independent, right? They say, well, if the men would be men, we wouldn't have to be like this. What are y'all thoughts on that?
I think it's kind of a chicken before the egg scenario. But from what I've observed, it's more of a deflection tactic, because a lot of these women think and operate in ways that conflict with the type of men that they say that they want. So they struggle to identify husband material men, and they operate in ways that make it less likely that a husband material man enjoys dating them. And so even if we had some magic trick where we could turn all the fuckboys and dead bums and deadbeats into husband material men, those women still think and operate in ways that conflict with those type of men. So that's not going to solve the problem, in my opinion. What about you, SD?
I think you, as an adult, you have to be independent by yourself. You got to do things on your own. It's not a man's fault. You have to do that until you know what I'm saying. You get a man around that's going to be the man and provide, and y'all work together as a unit. So, but there are less men out here that actually know how to lead a woman properly. So I get it from that standpoint. You know what I'm saying? That's why we talked about it earlier. They just don't have the luxury to pass up on these quality men that can. They can't afford to have
Especially
bad attitudes
for dumb reasons.
Yeah, they can't afford to be that picky on a guy, especially when they're settling for a dude that they just smashing who work at the local grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting all of this here for nothing. And it's just one of those things, man, where the independent attitude is what men have a problem with. Men don't have a problem with you all being independent, ladies, because you're single and you have to be. You have to be independent. It's the attitude that men have a problem with that's developed a lot of times from it. Exactly.
Like we covered the topic on the Harley Initiated podcast where they were talking about that, right? It's the disposition that makes them undesirable. I say it like this. As a grown adult, you should be able to pay your own bills, whether that's rent, phone bill, car note, student loans, etc. You at the end of the day, you are a grown adult here.
And I mean, especially like in the Black community, like you said, Black women have the most competition because a large part of their dating pool is in prison or is gay. So when you start filtering through the numbers and showing how the men are taken out of their dating pool or are already married, you see the numbers are not in their favor. And so I think women need to learn how to be more effective in their approach to dating. They need to learn more about the husband material men that they want to be with. So one, that they can identify them when they come across them, and they can learn how to decrease their conflicts with them, because ultimately that's what will put them in a position to end up being his wife.
What we hear a lot of This is what we hear a lot of. They're intimidated by me. And I just want to say this real quick, ladies. A man that has his life in order, financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever the case, that's an attractive man out here. He is not intimidated by your independence. He's turned off by the attitude that comes with it. But it's a lot easier for women to say that men are intimidated by him than it is for them to say, my attitude is unpleasant to deal with. My behavior is unpleasant to deal with. So stop saying men are intimidated by you, because all these men out here ain't intimidated by you. They're turned off maybe by your attitude. So maybe you should check it and not put the blame on the men.
Exactly. Just to piggyback that real quick here. They're not intimidated. If they have their finances together, they have their stuff together. Let's say they have their own apartment, car, etc. They don't see that as, if you have that as well, they don't see that as a benefit to them. No. That's why, you don't have to constantly remind them that you have those things. If they have that themselves, what benefit is that to them? I want to touch on one point real quick, and I want to get your thoughts on this, fellas. Right? Think about it. 80% of black men come from single mother homes, or it's almost 80%, right? So if that 80%, that makes up most of your high school dropouts, and about 75% of those end up in jail. What are your thoughts on that, fellas?
It's a negative cycle in our society. I think what we're seeing now is the result of the single parent generations, where you had teenage parents that struggle between the parent friend walking that line, and so they don't have the discipline, they don't have the rules, they don't have, look at the school systems. They're just, society as a whole is so much more lenient and tolerant to behaviors that are not conducive to being quality husbands and wives. And so that's what we're going to see until you have somebody that consciously makes the decisions to actually put themselves in a position to have their life together, like SD said. Like, you can't do that accidentally. You can't just one day at 24 decide to become a quality dude that's responsible. Like, these are skills that have been developed since your teen years in preparation to become a husband or a father. And so I think we just need to have more men like ourselves talking about it. I think the podcast era is going to help.
Absolutely.
It's a great point. Great point.
You get it right on the head.
So I wanted to kind of inject some positivity. So we know about the obstacles that make Black love difficult. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about what makes Black love so lit. So SD, I know that you're open opportunist when it comes to dating. What are the differences dating a Black woman compared to women of other races, in your opinion?
Black women understand you, man. Understand your struggles out here, man. So I mean, it's a factor where you all can come in and discuss things and talk about things that other races of people a lot of times don't understand. I remember I was in the barbershop one time, and this young lady, she was in her 30s. She was married to a white dude, a white guy. And she was so frustrated because she said when she come home and they treat her a certain way at the job, and she comes in and she be like, man, they treat me like that because I'm Black. And he's like, you just tripping. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like that. Well, he don't really understand that dynamic. And that's one of the things that bring us as Black people together at a common ground where we can, you know what I'm saying, have that intimacy on a mental level where we can understand and talk to each other. And that makes it lit when you can get on that type of time with a woman. You know what I'm saying? So
it's true.
Not saying that other races can't. I'm just saying that it's a different, you know what I'm saying, dynamic.
I mean, but that's not even universal for Blacks. You know, there are Blacks that don't get it. Racism doesn't exist. You know, like
exactly.
Lil Wayne.
So it makes me think like how difficult it would be to date or have a family member like that, like that's just clueless about reality or not acknowledging stuff how it really is. But you're right, man. I've only dated Black women, so I've had sex with some women that are not Black. But as far as relationships go, My wife is my only adult relationship, so that's really all I know. I think there are obviously certain problems or certain issues that are specific to Black women. They hair, they, you know what I'm saying, like they workplace, like just certain things that come with dating a authentic Black woman. But I think those are the things that make them lit. You know what I'm saying? Their shapes, they booties, the things that other women are imitating and paying to get come naturally to a lot of Black women.
Exactly.
Their food, the way they cook, you know what I'm saying? Like me and my wife, even though we from different places, like the commonalities of Black households, like when it comes to cleanliness and cleaning your meat and eating food from others, like we on the same page on so many different things. That it gives that commonality that you were talking about.
Right. You know, I think with you, right, you're adding more to the solution as opposed to the problem, right? Being you're married to a Black woman, you have a Black family. So you would be more so the post child as what a Black family is supposed to look like, as opposed to a single mother household. And you know,
I mean, but it's so rare though.
Because you know what? Because you know, when you put your post out, people say, "Oh, you must hate women." When that's not the case, right? You're trying to bridge. Same thing with you, SD. When you guys put those posts out there, you guys are trying to bridge the gap between Black men and Black women, and try to put more Black men and Black women together as opposed to putting them apart. Because y'all don't push, "Hey, go date white women, go date Asian women," right? Y'all don't push that kind of narrative.
I say date who you want, but the thing is that most of it, of course, is going to be geared towards our community because you know a lot of our followers is from, you know what I'm saying, our own space like that.
Exactly,
I mean, it is what it is, but you know, it just has to be something that's received, man. Because all we try to do, me and Terry, really is to get women to get out of their own way to get the men that they want. That's really all we trying to do with the different things that we say.
Because it's so simple, and the experience that men that are successful women have is almost universal. So that's why when we talk about certain things or we have certain topics, a lot of times our opinions are going to overlap because it's the same experience and we're observing the same problem.
No doubt.
You know, I mean, to me, I glorify the Cosby Show days. Where we had, I mean, we have them now. I'm not gonna act like there aren't any positive Black families in society, but back then it was so rare to see that we had one that was kind of like highlighted above all others. And so the idea of a doctor and a lawyer, and their kids got wear nice clothes, and they, you know what I'm saying, like the idea that was the American dream that kind of was achievable for my generation. And so I feel sad that this new generation, like, man, they're getting married less and less, and even the ones that are getting divorced more and more. So it's like, man, you know, because me and my wife, we just had our 18-year anniversary, and it's so rare. Like we by far the longest tenured married couple out of almost everybody we know. And so it's like, man, the people that we see that are divorced and remarried and all this kind of shuffling going on among our friends and family. And it seems like I said, Black love is on life support. So I just wanted to do what I could to try to help.
It is, you know, and Terry, I believe you and your wife are Gen Xers, if I'm not mistaken, right? Me and SD, we're both millennials, and there was an article even far back as I think 5 or 6 years ago where less millennials are actually getting married and have kids. A lot of them are opting out of that just because they're not seeing a benefit in getting married or having kids because, you know, if it ends up in divorce, they get the short end of the stick.
Especially the men. I mean, I would like to get married one day though. Like, it's still something that I want to do. You know what I'm saying? But that woman got to be dope. Like, I ain't going for just any old thing. She got to be dope and have her mind in the right place. Like, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
already,
I want to do it.
And as a Black man that got your shit together, you're always going to be in a position to attract quality women to choose from. So that's the beauty of the approach to dating that men like ourselves have taken.
Yeah, it's just all about the fit after that. It's all about the chemistry after that and how well we fit together with personalities after that. Because the women are there, the men are there too. It's just all about the fit after that.
Right.
So.
All right, man. Look like we are up against the clock. We're about to get up out of here. Before we go, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background audio. I want to remind y'all to continue showing love and donating to the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. JSD, man, I appreciate y'all linking up with me so we can get another episode on the books.
Yep.
This has been another episode of the Hold a Husband podcast, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.